For over 70 years, we kind of thought we had the solar system all figured out. A nice, tidy family of 9 planets. But way, way out there, in the freezing darkness, a tiny little speck of light was hiding, a ghost in old photographs, that was about to change absolutely everything.
And its discovery, oh, it wasn't just about adding a new world to the list. No, this was so much bigger. It was going to force a huge, bitter fight over the meaning of a word we thought we all understood: planet. And in the process, it would redraw our map of the cosmos forever.
So what could possibly cause all that drama? Well, to answer that, we need to take a trip out to the very edge of our solar system and meet the world that, living up to its name, brought nothing but discord to the scientific community: Eris.
Okay, so our story doesn't start with some lucky accident. It begins with a massive, methodical search for a ghost that astronomers were pretty sure was lurking in the dark, out beyond Neptune.
So you've got this dedicated team at the Palomar Observatory, Mike Brown, Chad Trujillo, and David Rabinowitz. And what they were doing was painstakingly mapping the night sky, using this powerful telescope and some clever software to look for any faint dot of light that moved. Because if it moves against the backdrop of stars, that's the telltale sign that it's part of our own solar system.
And the team lead, Mike Brown, he wasn't just searching blindly. He had this powerful gut feeling. He was convinced that Pluto couldn't be a one-off, just this lonely, weird little world at the edge of everything. He was sure something else, something big, was out there waiting to be found.
And after months and months of digging back through old photos that his own software had missed the first time, he found it. On January 5th, 2005, he absolutely hit the jackpot.
He saw this faint object moving at a snail's pace. Now here's the cool part about astronomy. If something is moving that slowly, it means it's incredibly far away. And if it's that far away and you can still see it, well, it has to be huge. His first thought was just electric. I found a planet.
Now, you'd think they'd want to keep this amazing discovery under wraps for a while, right? Study it a bit more? Well, the world of astronomy is super competitive. When they found out another team had seen their public observation logs, their hand was forced. They had to announce it to the world. And that's when the real fun began.
You know that Greek myth about the goddess Eris? She starts the entire Trojan War just by tossing a golden apple into a party. Well, this new world was astronomy's golden apple. It landed right in the middle of the community and kicked off a scientific war over the very definition of a planet. And this is the real kicker. By watching the little moon that orbits Eris, the team figured out its mass, and the result was just stunning. This new world was 27% more massive than Pluto.
This just threw a huge wrench in everything. I mean, look at this. Eris and Pluto are almost the exact same size, but Eris is way heavier, way denser. The logic was inescapable. If Pluto is a planet, then its bigger, heavier twin has to be a planet too.
All of a sudden, astronomers had to answer a question they had kind of been ignoring for, well, centuries. What is a planet, really? If you let Eris into the club, what about all the other big, icy things they were finding out there? You either had to add a whole bunch of new planets to the list, or maybe, just maybe, it was time to subtract one. So to settle this once and for all, in August of 2006, the International Astronomical Union, the IAU, they all got together in Prague. For the very first time in history, they were going to have a formal debate and an actual vote on what it means to be a planet.
And the whole debate really split everyone into 2 main camps. One side said, look, if an object is big enough that its own gravity squishes it into a sphere, it's a planet. Simple. But the other side said, whoa, not so fast. A real planet has to be the gravitational king of its orbit. It has to have cleared its neighborhood of other big stuff.
And after a really passionate, really controversial vote, and get this, it was held on the last day of the conference when a ton of people had already gone home, the second definition won. The IAU officially established these 3 rules for being a planet. So Pluto checks the first 2 boxes, no problem, but it fails on that third one. It hasn't cleared its neighborhood. It shares its orbit with Neptune and a whole bunch of other icy objects in the Kuiper belt. And so, with that new definition, Pluto was out.
And just like that, with one single vote, the map of the solar system that generations of us had memorized in school was officially and forever redrawn. We went from 9 planets down to 8. And I know the loss of Pluto felt personal for a lot of people. But the story doesn't really end with a loss. Actually, it's the beginning of a much bigger, much cooler revelation.
See, instead of just losing a planet, we gained a whole new, much more accurate picture of our home. We now see the solar system in three amazing parts. You've got the inner rocky worlds, the outer gas giants, and then this huge third zone, a massive swarm of thousands of icy dwarf planets. Eris didn't kill Pluto. It just showed us Pluto's true family, with both of them reigning as kings of this brand new realm.
So what about Eris itself? I mean, this world that we officially named after the goddess of discord, it's a pretty fascinating place all on its own.
So even though it's the same size as Pluto, it's way denser. And that tells us something really cool about what's inside. It's mostly rock, with a pretty thin layer of ice on top. It's like a rocky heart wrapped up in a frozen shell.
Eris is just a world of extremes. Its orbit is completely wild, a 557-year trip that takes it soaring high above the main plane of the solar system. Its surface is one of the brightest things we know of, probably because its thin atmosphere literally freezes and falls as a fresh coat of snow during its long, dark winter. And of course, there's its moon, Dysnomia, which was the key to proving Eris was the heavyweight champion and sealing Pluto's fate.
Finding Eris gave us a clearer, more complex, and frankly, a much more interesting solar system. Today, it is still the most massive object we know of in our entire system that we haven't sent a spacecraft to visit. It's just out there, a silent reminder that sometimes the most exciting discoveries aren't the ones that give us all the answers, they're the ones that show us just how much more there is left to explore.